Welcome to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. This podcast is dedicated to EAS employees of the U.S. Postal Service and members of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. So, pour yourself a cup of coffee and join us for today's episode. And now, here's your host, Robert Wakefield.
Good morning, Branch 32, and good morning to all of our EAS friends across the country. Welcome to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast presented by the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. I'm your host, Robert Wakefield, president of Branch 32. That's right. There you go. That's it. There's the applause. All right, we got a great show lined up for you. So get ready and pour that first cup. Get ready, Nashville. It's time to celebrate with the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. On Tuesday, July the 16th, it's National Hot Dog Day. We're serving up free hot dog lunches from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. while supplies last. Come by, grab a bite, and enjoy the summer vibes. Then on Friday, July 25th, show some love for I Love My Credit Union Day. Snap a selfie, share it on our social media page with a caption telling us why you love the credit union, and you'll be entered for a $100 prize. Join us in celebrating food, fun, and community. Brought to you by the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. People helping people since 1925. And for our first cup today, I want to talk about the big, beautiful bill and just briefly about that, and then other things that help support that. But as a review, the president on July the 4th signed the big, beautiful bill into law. When it was first introduced in the House, there were some damaging items for federal and postal workers as far as being at-will employees, contributing more to your retirement. The supplement was gone. There was a lot of damaging things there. And then when the Senate got a hold of it, they made the changes that were much more palatable, I guess, for federal and postal workers. And all those damaging things were taken out. And that is part of the efforts of NAPS, Bob Levy, who heads up our legislative department, along with all the resident officers, Ivan Butts, Chuck Mullador, Jimmy Warden. All of them help contribute to the success of getting this bill, getting through without all the damaging parts of it. And all of us had a part in that too by sending emails to our legislators and our senators. That helped a lot. So congratulations to everyone. The struggle's not over by any stretch of the imagination. But D. Perez had mentioned in one of his emails that it is so important that we continue to contribute to SPAC for legislation such as this. And he's exactly right. He is exactly right. So I want to talk today in our first cup about SPAC and specifically about the Drive for Five. Now, let's talk about SPAC. It's the Supervisors Political Action Committee. Yes, I know what it stands for, although one time when I was at a Tennessee State Convention, standing in front of 40 people, I did not know what that meant. I could not remember what SPAC stood for, but it's the Supervisors Political Action Committee. And it does not have a lot of flashing lights with that. There's no postal blue confetti or anything, but it is the engine that keeps NAPS's advocacy in high gear. SPAC gives us, the supervisors, the managers, the postmasters, a way to support lawmakers who understand what we do and why it matters. It's how we make sure that our voices just don't echo in an empty chamber, but actually can land somewhere where change happens. And that's on Capitol Hill. I like to think of it as our stake in our future work conditions, our future compensation, our future retirements, all of the things that we value. And I think that's the reason why SPAC exists. Now, here's where it gets good. It's called the Drive for Five. NAPS came up with an idea to fuel SPAC called Drive for Five. And the idea is very simple. If each one of us chips in just $5 a pay period, that's for active members. Retirees can do $10 a month. The cost of a fancy cappuccino or an extra streaming subscription, just the cost of that, we can unlock some real momentum. Now imagine thousands of EAS employees putting $5 in a pay period. Now that's sustainable. That is strength in numbers. That's not waiting for change. It's helping write the bill that creates change. And let's be real. It's not about the dollar amount. It's about being in the arena. By us supporting SPAC through the Drive for Five, it says, I believe our voice matters. I believe my work matters. Let me tell you, and that's powerful. So what does a SPAC contribution actually do? Well, it ensures that we're building relationships with leaders in Washington who understand our challenges. We're not buying influence. We're not buying votes. We're building bridges that help stop unfair pay freezes or any kind of postal reform or any kind of advocacy for better work environments. Every successful negotiation, every fairer pay scale, every improvement in how the system treats us, chances are SPAC helped pave the way. And here's the beauty of it. It's democratic. It's voluntary. There's no arm twisting. Just collective action from people who care about being a supervisor, postmaster, or manager. So I know what you're thinking. That's someone else's job. But really, here's the truth. Leadership at NAPS isn't just the national officers or the state presidents. It's every dues-paying member who steps up and says, we're in this together. And if we want our lawmakers to listen, not just nod and smile and kiss babies, we need to show up. And SPAC is how we do it. The thing that I like about SPAC is the fact that it comes out of your paycheck every pay period, and the SPAC fund is replenished 26 times a year. That's amazing. I did a little math, which is scary because I'm not a math guru. But I took 26,000 active employees. Okay, I think we have more than that, but I just took 26,000. And I multiplied $5 a pay period times 26 pay periods. Do you know how much that equaled out to be? $3.38 million. Let me say that again. $3.38 million. Can you imagine what kind of impact we could have if in our SPAC fund we had $3.38 million? Now, I'm realistic here. I know 26,000 of us are not going to do the Drive for Five, and that's fine. But even if 20,000 did it, 15,000, it would still make a huge impact for NAPS. So here's what I'm doing. Branch 32, especially, I am challenging all of us to give the Drive for Five, or if you're a retiree, you do it once a month. Just give $5 a pay period. I would love so many of us to be a part of this effort, and you're going to be seeing messaging from me throughout the month of July, trying to encourage everyone to sign up for the Drive for 5. Now, it's easy to do. All you have to do is go to naps.org/SPAC, and you can fill out a 2-minute form. You can do it online. It takes no time whatsoever. It's just really an important thing. When I saw 3.38 million, I thought, my goodness, what an impact that would have. So if you're listening to my voice, and you obviously are because you're listening to the podcast, so if you're not in branch 32, I encourage every branch to make July the Drive for 5 month. Let's get as many people signed up for this worthwhile cause so that if big, beautiful bills have an effect on us as postal workers, especially those of us in NAPS, we already have an arsenal ready to go. We have funds ready to build those bridges, like I mentioned before. Drive for 5. It's easy, and it's really something we all should do. All right, that's going to do it for the first cup. Let's go ahead and pour that second cup. Summer is here, and what better way to celebrate and to beat the heat than with a delicious serving of ice cream? That's right, Brian Wagner, did you hear that? We are excited to announce that we will be offering ice cream every day throughout June, July, and August to continue our celebration of 100 years of service. Stop by and treat yourself to a little taste of summer and enter for a drawing for a Ninja Creamery machine at the end of our celebration. The Nashville Post Office Credit Union. People helping people since 1925. Okay, for our second cup today, I always like it to be a little on the lighter side if we can. It's just because we have just a few minutes left before our time is up, and so I decided to look up to see when this airs today. I wanted to see what the obscure holiday for July the 12th was. And here's what I found. Today, July the 12th, ladies and gentlemen, is celebration of National Pecan Pie Day. Yeah, who comes up with this stuff? I don't know. But it's National Pecan Pie Day today. There are approximately, here's some interesting information, there are approximately 75 to 85 pecans in the average sized pie. It's fantastic, warm out of the oven with a big old scoop of ice cream on it. Vanilla ice cream. Oh my goodness. Brian Wagner, are you listening to this podcast? You would go nuts over that. Some interesting facts about pecans, because this is the second cup, and we're just talking about different things. The U.S. produces over 265 million pounds of pecans a year, and over 80% of the worldwide production comes from the U.S. Now, I know what you're thinking. What is the world's largest pecan pie, and when was it made? Well, it was made May 22nd in 1999 by El Paso Diablos Baseball Club at Cohen Stadium there in El Paso, Texas. It weighed, are you ready, 41,586 pounds. That's a lot of pie. That's a lot of pecans. But that's what it says. And it's on the internet, so it's all true. Now, here's ways you can celebrate National Pecan Pie Day. And the first one is buy a pecan pie. All right. The second one says, better still, make one from scratch. The third item, eat a pecan pie, have seconds if you prefer. Number 4, bring a pie to work and share it with your coworkers. Now, wouldn't that be exciting? And finally, you can give your pecan pie to a neighbor or a friend. So, I know that's a silly way to fill up some time, but I always like it to be real light, and today was real light. Happy National Pecan Pie Day. And if you would like to make me a pecan pie, I'll certainly let you do that. Okay, so that's going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for listening to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast presented by the Nashville Post Office Credit Union. Now listen, you know what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to share this podcast with all your EAS friends. I want to hear from you. I haven't heard from people in a long, long time, and I'd like to hear from you. Let me know what branch you're from. That would be awesome. Thank you so much for listening, and remember, every great weekend starts with a great cup of Joe. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for tuning in to the Saturday Cup of Joe podcast. Please note that the views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of Robert Wakefield and do not necessarily reflect the views of the National Association of Postal Supervisors. We welcome your questions and comments, so send those to SaturdayCupofJoe@gmail.com.